read through those questions and we'll address them to all of the speakers as a kind of panel at that point. So yeah, so that's all there is to say. Thank you very much for coming, and hopefully this is the beginning of quite an exciting conversation about sustainable food and wheat and baking and all, yeah, happening in Sheffield. Okay, over to Johnny.
Right, thank you very much, Camilla. I'm just going to share my screen, so just bear with me while I get a little bit of just sort that out. It's on the wrong slide, so we'll get to the right slide. Can everybody see that? Can you see that, Camilla? Yeah, nod some heads. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. I think it's amazing what people will do in a lockdown. Our excitement for a Sunday morning Zoom. Just before I start, I want to give an especially big thank you to Ruth and Toby, who will be talking after me, and for joining us. They've got lots of really interesting things to say about growing wheat. And also my community bakery comrades, Camilla and Anne, who have helped make this happen, have been really brilliant in doing that. So a lot of people here, actually, about 30, and quite a lot of you don't know me. My name's Johnny. I own and run a small bakery in Sheffield called the Tower of Bagel. And I want to be transforming that into a community bakery over the next 6 months to a year or so. So rather than talk about the specifics of that bakery and what's happening with that, I've been working on that with Camilla, Anne, and a couple of others. I just wanted to have a little think about what makes a community bakery, and give a bit of background to this idea that we've got about growing some wheat in the community and coming together to bake with it. So there are lots of community bakeries in the UK. There's Home Baked in Liverpool, which is quite a famous one and very successful. Real Bread in Dunbar is very well spoken of, and as well there's quite a new one. Doug, who's here from Regather, he knows about this. Torth y Tir in Wales. They advertise themselves as a peasant community bakery, and they do everything from growing the wheat to milling it to baking with it. And all of these community bakeries, they're sort of rooted obviously in their local communities, but they're all slightly different based on their local circumstances, the commercial environment they're working in, and the interests of their local community. But there are some things perhaps that they have in common that distinguishes them from similar size but more commercial bakeries. So affordability is one of them. That's very big in Liverpool. That's written into their mem and arts. I think that they have to make sure that their product is affordable to the local community. Giving people a local voice, the local community a voice in the running of the bakery is an important aspect, especially for Torth y Tir, where the community actually owns and runs that bakery. And all of them seem to offer some sort of local employment opportunity, local training opportunities, and volunteering opportunities. And they are, to varying degrees, ways of engaging with the community. But there are other points of engagement, which I'll just sort of run through. And some of these we've talked about in quite a lot of detail as we've been thinking about how our bakery in Meersbrook and Heeley will start to take shape. So one of those might be community baking days, where people from the local community come together. It's quite an unstructured day. You bake what you like, but you're supported by the community bakery staff in either using the equipment, staying safe, and maybe getting a bit of advice about how to do something. There's something slightly different from that, which is maybe a supported baking day, and it's something that certainly Camilla and I have talked quite a lot about, and something I think I'd hope that our bakery would excel at, in helping people have a day of sanctuary in our bakery, particularly aimed at people who are vulnerable for whatever reason and just need a bit of breathing space from their day-to-day lives. So there's a whole movement out there at the moment that's quite growing about the therapeutic benefits of baking. And I'd really love our bakery to be able to offer that to people who need it around where we live. Then there's other things around more structured classes, which are more outcome focused, where you might be teaching a particular technique. And often these are well out of the reach financially of many, many people. And so we'd be looking to put on classes that are affordable, and maybe also link in with schools and people like that. And then down to more specifically what we're talking about today is having some sort of harvest celebration with the wheat that we've grown, and baking all together. So I think one of the most basic ingredients that we can think of in a bakery is flour. And if I'm honest, I know very, very little about it. I don't know much about how it's grown. I don't know much about how you maintain it as it's growing, about how you harvest it and dry it, and then go on to thresh it and then mill it. I think, excuse me, just while somebody's waiting to get admitted. I'll just deal with that. I've done that. Sorry. So I don't know very much about that. And I imagine as we eat our bread, many, many people are the same. Some people here will probably know a lot more than me, but most people, I think, will be reasonably disconnected from the sort of the raw material to the end product. But one of the things that I've discovered is that you don't need a lot of space to grow enough wheat to make a loaf of bread or a few cakes. So it seems to me that one of the purposes of a community bakery is to help people re-engage with the processes of food production that our supermarket lives have sort of alienated us from. So from the raw material, the grain, to the end product, which could be bread, pies, cakes, biscuits, whatever it is you're gonna make with the flour that we mill, thresh, and bake together with. So my key idea and question is this: can we grow together as individuals in a small bit of our gardens or allotments or grow tubs? I've got grow tubs in front of my bakery in Attercliffe, which, because there's no animals in Attercliffe, of course, are slug free. Or with organisations such as schools and even care homes on a small scale, can we grow a small amount of wheat, support each other in the process of doing that, and then come together, maybe harvest it together, and come together with the grain, rather like people do on an apple day, and celebrate this by milling and baking together in a community oven. So that's the central question and the link to the community bakery. So I'm going to stop there. Do send your questions on the chat line here, or email us on sheaf.community.bakery@gmail.com, or visit us on facebook.com Sheaf Community Bakery. And Camilla, thank you very much, everybody, for coming, and back to you, Camilla.